speak on behalf of my parents and the rest of our family. At the age of 24, my brother moved on from this world. He was the most kind, genuine, and passionate person I knew. He was the best of humankind, both human and kind. Saarthak, you lived and loved with your whole heart, never satisfied, unrelenting. You left us too soon, but you've given me several lifetimes of memories. It's always better, as they say, to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. You were my best friend, and I will never again love anyone the way I loved you. I remember the first day that my parents brought you home from the hospital. I remember carrying you and feeding you. I remember giving you Superman rides and tickle monster attacks. I remember when you cried during swim lessons and refused to get in the water. I remember watching all your soccer games from the sideline. I remember how much you wanted to play video games with me, so I would give you an unplugged controller. I remember years later when you told me that you knew it was unplugged, but couldn't figure out what to say. I remember coaching your Lego League team that my mom started so that you could compete in our basement. I remember how happy you were playing chess against a grandmaster. I remember pouring water on your face every morning to wake you up for school and driving you there because you always missed the bus. I remember when you wrote a full paper, typed it up, and printed it out to convince parents to get you a custom desktop, and then stayed up all night building it, and never used it for anything other than video games. I remember how much you loved all animals, from dogs to little caterpillars on the sidewalk, even though my parents were scared of dogs. I remember FaceTiming you every day from college to work on your college apps and your internship applications. I remember when you started competing in and winning coding hackathons. I remember visiting home and playing FIFA for hours, and later realizing it was really just a way for you to be able to talk openly about with me. I remember our push-up and wall sit challenges at home. I remember when you started playing basketball and immediately became better than me. Low bar, I know. I will always remember you. My parents told me they only intended to have one child, but after we moved here, they decided to have another child so I wouldn't be alone. You were brought into this world to be my partner, and with you by my side, I'll never be alone again. You were the new and improved version of me. More intelligent, more creative, more fashionable, more athletic, even a half-inch taller. You beat me in every game we ever played, from chess to Challenge 24 to Wordle, crossword, Snatch, every video game except for FIFA. You were a better software engineer, a better musician, a better dancer, a better brother. I eventually came to accept that you were just more talented than me in every way, and I never really stood a chance. It feels like a cruel joke that your talent and intelligence became a burden that you couldn't lift. You fought so hard for so many years, but in the end, you couldn't understand the world, and the world couldn't understand you. You lived your whole life in extremes. Extreme joy, extreme sadness, extreme love and anger, extreme workouts and diets, extreme attachment, extreme separation, extreme focus, extreme addiction, extreme highs and extreme lows. You really saw the world in black and white, never saw the nuance, and you just wanted everyone to be happy and live pain-free. I guess in the end, you ended up taking everyone's pain on yourself. For years, I searched for ways to remove your pain and prayed that I could take your pain onto myself. I guess in a way, this is what happened. You're now at peace, and I now carry your pain inside me. It's sad that it takes such a tragedy to bring us all together, but it's important that we learn our lessons from this. Hold your loved ones close. Never give up on the people you care about. Talk to them, spend time with them. Don't forget them. Ask for help. Have the difficult conversations. Life is nothing without the people we care about. Saarthak, you were the best man at my wedding, but you've been my best man since the day you were born and will be until the day I die. Since you came to this planet, I've tried to hold myself to your standards, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make you proud. Love you forever, brother.
I'm Saarthak's sister-in-law. I grew up with two brothers, so taking Saarthak in as one of mine was easy. And we fell into the role of little brother, big sister so easily. He was a little confused at first by my bubbly personality, but quickly joined me on my level. And our favorite activity became bullying Sid. We would do all the normal sibling things, wall sit challenges, workouts together. We'd go on walks and he'd open up about his struggles. If I burst into his room in the morning, I would sit on him and I would say, "Good morning, sunshine." Even though he pretended not to enjoy it, I think he did. He'd ask me about girls, I'd teach him about girls. He'd whip my butt in all games and be way too giddy about it. We'd have philosophical conversations that just went over my head. I'd force him to listen to my music as I educated him on why my music taste was better than his. Just all the normal brother-sister things. He was my nugget. I've known him for 6 years now, and even though I'm heartbroken, I'm thankful for the time I was blessed to have him, because he was one of the cleverest, sweetest, and most beautiful souls out there. I'd like to open the floor up now to anyone else who would like to speak on behalf, or just to Saarthak.
Hello everyone, I'm Ashita, Saarthak's cousin. Saarthak, my movie night partner, my dance partner, my tattoo partner, my skincare muse, my cousin, and most of all, my friend. In the last 5 years, we've had this beautiful bonding journey, filled with moments I'll cherish for life, for the both of us. From movie at 11 p.m. text to sharing meal calories after dinner. From hot sauce challenges to driving to Starbucks at 4 a.m. from your witty, iconic dialogues, like gym is my church, and it's pretty cool that the sun is 3D and not 2D, to getting impromptu matching tattoos. Somewhere between all these moments, you became one of my dearest family members. One of the smartest people I know. I wish we could plan more trips together. I wish I talked to you more. I wish we could make more egg pizzas together. I wish we could go on more long walks. And I wish I could see you again. You'll always be an inspiration to me and everyone around you. I love you and I'll miss you so much, buddy.
Saarthak, it's been a blessing to be able to call you my brother. You will be missed by us all. It hasn't been easy coming to terms with what has happened, and I'm sure a lot of us here had our own relationship with Saarthak, maybe having the same thoughts. I should have called more often and pushed harder to have those difficult conversations. I wish I could have seen it coming. Forgive me if I have failed you. What I know for certain is I don't have the answers, and I never will. But I cherished every moment we got to spend together. You were eager to learn, to do, and your eyes were full of life. We didn't see each other very often, we always lived far away. But my favorite part about our relationship was that when we did come together, there was no resentment, no unfamiliarity, and you could just pick up where you left off. The kind of bonds that defy time as if it ceased to exist. And though we'd want you to accompany us on this journey, may your soul rest in peace. May we find comfort in knowing that you're in a place free from the burdens of life until we get to meet again and pick up things from where we left off.
Saarthak was my brother. I was lucky enough to watch him grow into an incredibly intelligent, incredibly kind man. He always wore a beautiful smile and had the most infectious laugh. Saarthak had the ability to light up any room he walked into. Saarthak was a blessing, and whoever was lucky enough to spend time with him should be honored. Saarthak, wherever you are, I hope you're at peace. May the warmth of the light you gave this world never fade. I love you, brother.
Hi everyone, my name is Amitesh. I was friends with Saarthak for 11 years. We met freshman year of high school in 2014. which still doesn't feel like that long ago. We were friends because, why does anybody become friends? We had some common interests. We both loved basketball, we both loved the Wizards, and during COVID, when I was watching the games and hoping that there was a chance to make the playoffs finally, he was always the first person I texted. We both loved soccer. He would crush me at FIFA. Music. We used to make playlists together sometimes, and we used to talk about life, right? But you share common interests with a lot of people, and not all of those people are your friends. Saarthak and I were friends because of who he was as a person. Different people have touched on this, but Saarthak was one of the most generous, big-hearted people I knew. One of the most genuine, generous, big-hearted people I knew. In the past 2 or 3 years, I don't think we stayed in touch, but I didn't see him as much as I would have liked. And if I could go back in time, I would change that. And I think thinking about what he's struggled with, and it's tough. It requires a lot of support from family and friends. But the way that I want to remember him is by thinking about the impact that he had on my life with his generosity. I had a lot of friends, but Saarthak was one of the only people who knew a lot about me. Because sometimes we make our friends in groups, but Saarthak and I were just the two of us. We had a special friendship, I think. And there were frequently times where I panicked and I needed some help, even after high school. There was one time when I was 17 and one of my close uncles had passed, and I'm a private person. I didn't tell anybody, but I called Saarthak because he understood me and he was the one who was always there for me. When I was 22, something similar happened, and he was always the first person I called. And like I said, we have a lot of shared interests, and a lot of the interests that I have came from Saarthak. When I started in high school, we met on very early on, and he said, we should come and do this international night together. We should do Bhangra together. And I was like, me, I can't dance, and he was like, no, you can do it. And that's just the type of person he was. He liked something, he had an interest, he wanted to share it with you because that's how big his heart was. And he shared it with me, and I went on to do it in college, and all of that I only got from Saarthak. So that's how I'll remember him, as having the most genuine personality, the most infectious laugh. He was a really funny guy, and just having incredible generosity and a really big heart. And he has impacted my life positively in so many different ways, and I'll miss him a lot. Love you, buddy.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sunny Chabra. I'm Nikita's uncle. Siddhan, Nikita, they call me Tao. I had an opportunity to meet Saarthak last year during their wedding in Portugal. Every time we bumped into him, he met us with a beautiful smile. But one of the incidents which we will never forget, me and my wife will never forget, we were waiting at the elevator, and my wife is in a wheelchair. He saw us from a distance and came running, came with us to the elevator, and came to our room, sat with my wife, holding our hand, had a 10-15 minutes conversation. And we were so surprised, a 23-year-old kid, how humble, how loving he is. And we're gonna miss him, remember him the rest of our life. We love you, sir.
I'm one of Saarthak's childhood friends. We grew up together, and I just have a lot of memories of Saarthak. I remember one day after the Gurdwara, me, Saarthak, 3 of us all sat down and said we were going to be friends for life, called ourselves the Gang of 5. and it was an unbreakable thing. I remember my first ever all-nighter was at Saarthak's house in Herndon. Sabakanti saw us at 7:30 in the morning, thought we woke up early for some reason. We had just stayed up all night playing video games and went to the pool, I think at 8 o'clock. I remember being the first one out of our friends to learn how to swim. We all thought it was the coolest thing. You tried to get us to go to the deep end. You were just amazing at everything you did. You were one of the best soccer players, one of the better people. We all played basketball. Everyone wanted you on their team, and I just want you to give yourself the credit for how far you came and how much you accomplished. You didn't give yourself enough grace. I know you felt like you weren't successful, but you were killing it, man. You got your degree, you had a great job, and I just want you to think about all the things you accomplished and just focus on how far you came, because I wish you could see how everyone else saw you as just a light of light, as one of the smartest people. I think anyone that knows Saarthak, the first thing they would say is like, just one of the smartest people ever, and I hate that your brain got in your own way, and I wish I could tell you, man, like, you're killing it. Just seeing you dance at your brother's wedding, like, I think both of us would consider ourselves left-footed people. I guess actually we're left-footed, but yeah, just seeing you move around, I was like, I had no idea that Saarthak could do all that. I'm sure just everyone loved seeing the light and joy you brought. And I just wish you could have seen what we all saw, but we'll see you again soon. And Gang of Five, we're still best friends for life. I love you, Saarthak. I miss you.
Hi guys, I'm Vicky, youngest member of the Gang of Five. Thank you for filling my life with joy. I love you forever. Love you always with us.
Unlike some of you, Saarthak and I were equals in games. And I think that was actually really special. There's few people who, sorry, I lost my voice. There's few people who I have met. I'm Sid's friend from college. I got to know Saarthak while visiting DC and visiting Uncle and Auntie specifically, and learned so much about Saarthak. Just learned how similar we were, how much we saw the world the same way. He actually started learning to code first through design, very similar to me. He did Photoshop and design stuff first, and then learned to code after that. And I felt very akin to this. That translated across so many things. Video games. The only one I couldn't beat him in was chess. So close, but never got it. And to all those maybe misfits, people who don't feel like they follow the conventional path, he was actually interned with me in my first company that I built. He was the first intern I ever had, and to be able to share my passion and joy with someone who also shared that love and care for anything, just a deep craft. Someone talked about extremes. Is a great joy to be able to share with someone, and for you to carry on.
My name is Saban, and I've been friends with college. Just since friends with Saarthak since college. It's never easy to know what to say, what's right to say, what's wrong to say. मेरे सार्थिक कॉलेज से दोस्तियाँ थे, हम कंप्यूटर साइंस से करते थे, हम चेस खुद ही खेलते थे, और also जब उसका पहले इंटर्नशिप था कैपिटल वन पे, मेरा दोस्ती वहाँ से शुरू हुआ. So I've been friends with Saarthak since college. Sorry, we played chess together a lot. We studied computer science a lot. We'd always study, work on projects, homework, stuff like that. But it wasn't until his internship at Capital One where my friendship with him really started to flourish. At the time, I had someone I was interested in, and Saarthak was there for me a lot for kind of talking it out, kind of feeling it out, how to kind of talk to different people. Saarthak, very kind. Everyone said that before, and it's very, very true. Very kind, very friendly, very funny as well. I remember 2 years ago, he, with his internship group, we went on a beach trip for my birthday. But it wasn't planned for my birthday, but he was one of the people who bought me a surprise cake and stuff like that. So that just goes to show how caring he was. We played Rocket League together, we played Valorant together, we played all these games together. Again, much like people said, he is very good at games. It's really surreal to think that for me as a South Asian myself, it's really surreal to see that someone can pass like this. I looked up to him in a lot of ways, and I would like to think that he looked up to me for something. I know he talked about his brother very fondly. Back when Sid was getting married, he reached out to me for dance help. He reached out to me for fashion help. It's crazy to think that. I know I was talking to some other people around, and I was thinking about Saarthak just 2 days ago, which in my opinion is a big deal because I don't live in the area anymore. But I've been visiting town to visit family for Eid, and I was driving around Arlington, and I was thinking about him, which we didn't talk every single day, but when he came into mind, we would talk, and very easy to talk to, very friendly. He'd open up about a lot of his things. I remember back when I lived in Arlington as well, and I was having a bad day myself. He let me walk 40 minutes to his house to just talk to him, watch him play games, play with his cat at the time. When he moved into Arlington, I helped him build his furniture. A lot of memories. We go rock climbing together, and it's really surreal because I looked up to him as someone who I almost went to TJ, but I did not. But I looked up to him because that was the school I wanted to go to. I looked up to him because he worked at my dream company, Capital One, and it's crazy because that's whenever I was gonna apply, I was planning on reaching out to him as a referral and stuff like that. So it's crazy to think that someone who I saw very eye to eye with on a lot of personal matters, and as giving of a person as he was, it's kind of surreal to see that this is how we all meet officially. So thank you.
My name is Sachin. I met Saarthak the freshman year of high school, and I feel very blessed to have known him. You know, back in high school, he used to do these hackathons, which were just like an excuse to stay up late with your friends. And half of it was because of him, because he was so damn funny. He was like the life of the party basically every time. He would play pranks on us sometimes, and like just made us know that like all this, all the stuff we were trying to do as kids and thinking we wanted to do as adults. What mattered was having fun and enjoying ourselves in the moment. And he really, that's really who he was. He really focused on making sure everybody is involved, is having a good time. He taught me a lot of things. He taught me all these games that everybody's talking about. He got me into Catan, Valorant, poker, basketball, and part of me thinks that he only got me into it so he could beat me. But it wasn't that, because he always had a smile. He always rooted for me. As we got older, we both kind of struggled with anxiety, and I just really looked up to him in a lot of ways, and you just feel weird. It's like, you're so damn cool, man. Why are you worried? I miss you a lot, man. I miss you a lot.
Hello, my name's Liam. I'm at Saarthak, my first semester at GMU. Fall of 2020 online, we became best friends. He was the first person to show me what it meant to be a good person who knew what they wanted. We had many fierce chess battles. Some went his way, some went mine. But he made chess club a place where people want to be, where they feel included, where you can go there and have a laugh with his witty humor. He had some of the best inside jokes. I remember one time we were in a study room and I reclined my chair too far back and actually fell out. But then whenever we saw each other and we couldn't talk to each other across the room, we'd reenact it without even having to say anything at the same time. And we'd all just sit there and talk about whatever came across our minds. He was one of those people that no matter what happened, no matter where we were in life, we could always reach out to each other and pick up where we left off. He rooted for me when I was at my lowest many times, many times. He was always there. He was like a brother to me before I ever had one. He changed my life in so many ways that I don't think anyone else ever will. He showed me what being a good friend was and who you can be in life. And I looked up to him every second. I love you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ronak, and I'm the oldest member of the Community 5. I actually don't have siblings, so growing up, the Gang of 5 gave me the opportunity to have brothers and be an older brother. And the cool thing about being an older brother is I always just thought that meant that, you have people to play with, people to have fun with, but Saarthak, he and I didn't always see eye to eye when we were younger. He didn't love the fact that when we played FIFA, I would foul out and get red cards. He and I would argue over who got to be old-time quarterback since there were 5 of us. We had uneven teams. Saarthak, he showed me that being brothers wasn't just about having fun. Being brothers was also keeping you honest and I just want to thank Saarthak for the things that he was able to teach me and giving me the opportunity to have a younger brother as cool and as kind and as smart as he was. And I just want to say I love everybody in the Gang of Five, and I wanted to thank all of you guys for giving me the brothers that I've always wanted. So thank you.
As you guessed, I'm the last member of the Gang of Five. I don't really have the full strength to do this, but I'm just gonna go through some of my favorite memories with Saarthak. I was in chess club with him, we learned together. We were in Lego camps together. I remember building Legos and programming with him on that little UI that we all did in Sweet Monty's basement. We went to competitions together, we played soccer together, we played FIFA together. A lot of games actually. We also had some conversations as well, we talked to each other. And one thing that has been brought up but I think is not profound enough is Saarthak's sense of humor. I think a lot of my sense of humor has been based off of this is like the sarcasm and the stuff that you can take, but you know that it's just so good. I know as kids we would practically just pull each other's legs, but we knew when we would stop and still have, still be okay with each other, and that's a learning balance. We both did that for each other, and I think both of us grew from that. In more recent years, we haven't gotten the privilege of living close to each other anymore. And yeah, more recently, I wish I was here more, and I'm gonna miss you a lot. You've taught me a lot, and may your soul rest in peace.
I know, we were the duo.
Hi everyone, my name is Yash. Also Saarthak's childhood friend. I was too young to be included in the Gang of Five. Yes, I was very jealous. But Saarthak, the other four didn't do this as much. Saarthak always made sure I was included when the Gang of Five would hang out. And that's who he was. He was an older brother. He was a couple years older, always kind of lived life 2 years ahead of me, and I would do it Saarthak with me. Everyone keeps talking about the same games, but he would beat me in chess. We would play the exact game back, and he would tell me exactly where I blundered, exactly when he knew he had me, and he would then teach me. And beating Saarthak was when I knew I was like him, and I was getting better, and I was getting older, and I was getting more mature. And he was kind of that benchmark for me a lot growing up. And even more recently, I think life brought us apart geographically, and we just. It's always hard to stay in touch with someone you grew up with, but he was always, the biggest person supporting me. When I started my first job, he bought my employer's stock, texted me, I'm investing in you, I need to. And that's who he was. Even though we hadn't talked for a while, he knew exactly where I was working, he knew exactly, where my life was at all times, and I just feel guilty I never always saying that, but that's who he was. He always set the bar too high, and we're really gonna miss him, and I love him a lot.
Hey, I'll try to make this short, quick. Yeah, so my name is Owen. I'm Sid's friend, Saarthak's friend. Saarthak's adopted older brother. He doesn't believe that. Yeah, I've seen him grow from the 10-year-old that was really annoying, and whenever I hung out with Sid, he'd want to hang out too, and I said, why? As I got to do something myself, I started to understand exactly what that meant, and seeing Saarthak and Sid's relationship, it was great that I was able to, like I said, adopt Saarthak as a younger brother and someone I really did feel like we were able to bond, and you know, I was able to see myself in him as a younger sibling. It got to the point where, like I said, when he was 10, Uncle Auntie would drop him off. We'd all play basketball at my place. I'd be annoyed that he was there, to the point where we grew older and I started looking forward to hanging out with him more than Sid. Because we have more common interests, right? This is also a roast of Sid. You know, me and Saarthak had a deep conversation about music, basketball. He tried to convince me Young Thug was the greatest artist of our generation. We agreed to disagree on that one. We always played basketball. It was this cool feeling where, you know, I would always beat Saarthak at one point or another. Then he magically lost a lot of weight. We played each other, he beat me. And then I finally felt how it must have felt to my older brother when I beat him in basketball for the first time. And you know, at the wedding over the summer last year, me and him talked about, hey, like, you got skinny, you got there first, I'm gonna get there at some point. So when I get there, we'll play. Fortunately, that's not gonna happen, but I'll settle for Sid, and like you said, his basketball game is a low bar, so I think Saarthak actually set me up for success there, so thank you for that. Love him, and he was all of our younger brother since Heart Circle, and he'll definitely be missed.
I'm Sid, Saarthak's least favorite Sid. I'm a friend of his from high school, and I'm sad to say I hadn't spoken to him in a while, but I wanted to speak on behalf of, there's a room full, a lot of you can't see, a room full of us from TJ who've come in a lot in the back as well, and I think that's a testament to who he is. A lot of us hadn't spoken to him in a while, and yet we're still here. Someone said that, you know, I told Uncle this, you know, his smile, every time you see it, you couldn't help but smile. And someone said his smile lights up a room. That room over there shows that his smile lit up a school. So, you know, we are so blessed to have had him in our lives. A lot of these guys know me as the class clown from school, and Saarthak was actually the one guy who could give it back. He was a prankster, and actually in the slideshow, there's a picture of him wearing a Cowboys jersey, and anyone who knows him well knows he's a diehard Redskins fan, right? So you're wondering why that's the case. Well, it's because he lost a bet to me. So the funniest thing is now I've stopped being a Cowboys fan. Now I'm a Redskins fan. I wish I could tell him that. Yeah, he was a prankster. I was remember, you know, and it's a sad and solemn occasion, but I can't help but think of, like all of you, I'm sure, all the happy memories and laughs I had with him. I was thinking back to summer school freshman year, where him and I would joke about the girls that we liked, and would make fun of each other. And I was going through, on the way here, before this, I was going through my messages with him. And yeah, people have said, you know, he loves basketball. The last message he sent me was he wanted to play basketball, and I said I couldn't make it. This was years ago, sadly, because my foot was hurt. And I really think that Saarthak has played one last prank on me, because I'm standing here again with a fractured ankle due to basketball. So I miss you, Saarthak. All of us love you. Thank you for the smiles, the laughs, the memories we won't have. One last thing, you guys probably forget. All of us started a club at school for fantasy football. Saarthak was actually the guy who created the logo for our club, Sports Statistics. And in my chats, I was seeing all the different iterations he did. So the point on extremism, he was like so into perfection. He'd send me the thing, and I said, yeah, this is good. He said, no, wait, let me take one more look. And he did that like 15 times. I'm like, come on, man, this is good. But the last one was the greatest, and I think that's, again, a testament to all the great things we've heard about him, the humor, the funniness. We're gonna miss him, and this is a loss for all of us.
A lot from the boys growing up, and one thing to know is, you know, there are all of us girls too, and Saarthak was the one guy who always made sure we were included in everything. Growing up, ever since he was, you know, this tall, and I was also this tall, every single moment, every party, every get together, the boys would be doing their own thing. Saarthak would run up to us and be like, Didi, do you want to play with us? Didi, do you want to do this with us? Sorry, but I think we can talk about memories for days. We could all sit here and talk about all of the great memories he gave us, but also we can talk about how much he always made every single person feel seen and heard. Every conversation you had, no matter how small the detail was, he would remember it. Months later, years later, he would bring it up and he would ask specifically about everything that was going on in your life. He was so caring. He really just, he was a little brother, and you know, I was in a unique position to be going through high school with him at the same time, even though some of them were, you know, a year older. We went through everything together, so I'm losing, you know, my buddy, but we love you, Saarthak, and you know, he's left a great impact on all of us.
So I've known Saarthak also since childhood, and you know, my fondest memories back then was just playing Super Smash Bros. I think back then that's probably all I did, was just play video games. And you know, even though I had a few year head start on him, he was always somehow so much better, and just brought so much joy to us. And over the recent years, you know, we lived far away, so we didn't get to spend as much time together, but you know, we got together every Christmas, and even just this past Christmas, I vividly remember just playing apples to apples and having such a good time, and he was also so good at that game. I didn't know how you could be good at that game. Yeah, I think as everyone has said, like his smile and joyous energy like just lights up the room. I think it's just a testament to how, you know, real of a human being he is, and I will never understand, you know, how this can happen. I still can't believe it, but yeah, I hope he rests in peace. I love you, man.
Everyone spoke about all the kids. They talk about how funny he is, his sense of humor and everything. But he was a pet lover. I have a dog, Coco. Coco miss you too, मेरा बच्चा. He kept a number of times, and every time no complaints. I can't believe that. Coco was with him in April for a week. And the very first thing he do just did pee, which she never seen anymore. She met him, she did pee. Had some nervous energy or what, we do not know. And I was so nervous to leave her with him. He said, no, Mercy, it will be okay. Everything will be okay. I didn't know what he was going through, I wish I could know. So his love for pets, love for everyone, and other thing which no one talk about, his spiritual journey. He was interested in yoga. He talked about yoga. He talked about meditation. And I'm pretty sure he went to yoga and meditation, Savita. I just wanted to raise these two things which, you know, you guys are talking about other things, but this touches our heart. Seeing you like that, going so soon, even before us, break our heart. Don't know how one feels, but I just wanted to express my feelings with everyone. Coco miss you too मेरा बच्चा. Coco miss you too.
Hi everyone, my name is Sagib. I met Saarthak 2 years ago during our internship at Capital One, and yeah, we used to live in the same apartment on the same floor, so we were in roommates. We used to frequently go to, like I met him and we just connected instantly. We had shared a lot of similar interests, and yeah, as everyone mentioned, I played a lot of FIFA with him. He always used to beat me. He used to talk about his older brother and they played together. Yeah, I think he was one of the smartest people I've met in my lifetime. He was super bright, could light up every room. Yeah, had a great sense of humor, and he deeply cared about his family, friends. So yeah, I just hope he's resting now.
Okay. Thank you everyone for sharing. That was beautiful. My mom is sitting here in shock at how many friends Saarthak had. I wish Saarthak knew how many friends he had too. Thank you all for being here for him. I know he's looking down on us smiling, lighting up whatever room he's in now. I guess let's move on to the service. I don't have much else to say. There'll be a religious service, and then we will take him